Good morning, everybody. It is another 360 degree on the road again with Shaggy. Boy, that is a mouthful, isn't it? Anyway, we are trying out a slightly different mount today, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully things are looking good. I have it turned around correctly the right way. The camera was a little bit different than what I would have thought of. I thought when you were holding it and you looking at the record button, that would be the front. Turns out I was wrong. It's the other way around. So anyway, hopefully this video is starting out the correct way. Alright, on the topics for discussion this morning, I actually had two choices. One, I had the budget mess that Illinois is in, which is kind of a continuing topic. It's never over in this state. But considering I'm a state employee, probably best if I don't talk about that one. I had another one that I kind of like better, and it is an article I read yesterday. It's from a gay couple that did a little like Q&A with a group of people that were curious about the gay lifestyle. All right, now I'm not gay, so I can't talk to all the questions that they were asked. But this guy did. One of the partners in that relationship did an editorial about a question that he was asked, and I found the editorial interesting. All right, because he was asked the question, which one of you is the husband and which one of you is the wife? And I have to say, I have asked that same question in my mind, not out loud. And as the author goes to say on, he's like, I'm sure a lot of people ask that question because in our society, we tend to want to assign gender roles even in same-sex relationships. We just want to put people into buckets. That's how we're wired to work. Because, traditionally we look at relationships as one person is the provider as far as, monetarily, as far as, giving them a house over their heads and doing the hard work and, being that type of person. And then the other person is the caring, compassionate, emotional support of the relationship. Very rarely do we ever assign both of those roles to both people. And with the gay lifestyle, we're asked to eliminate that divide. And it's very difficult for us to do. And that's what he said. He goes, I understand why people ask that question. He goes, but, really, it's two husbands in a relationship. It's two wives. He goes, we both play the roles at different times, so we don't put ourselves in that bucket. And I understand where he's coming from. He wants us to break down those walls that do divide the gender roles because they don't apply in his relationship. And, what's nice is he understands the heterosexual point of view, the difficulty in doing that. And he doesn't blame us for having trouble with doing that. So he's a very thoughtful author in this piece. Now, I will say that I have had, not issues. I understand the lifestyle a bit. Obviously I've never been in it. I've known some people that were. I've known some fine examples of couples that were in a same-sex relationship that make it work, or that not make it work. That's a horrible word. I hate to say make it work because it tends to denote that, that there's a problem with it to begin with, because to them there isn't. And, and I don't know that there ever was. To me, it's not the relationship that I would opt for, but that is me. That's my personal choice. That's not the way that I'm wired. So I don't fault anyone for who they fall in love with and the type of relationship that they go towards, as long as it is a mutually respectful, mutually agreed upon, consensual relationship. Now that doesn't mean that I approve of these, 50-year-old men that try and take on 12-year-old girls. That's obviously not a consensual relationship, so don't think that I approve of that. I don't approve of men marrying horses, or as we saw in one article that we covered on the radio show, a woman marrying the Eiffel Tower. All right. But somehow I don't think the Eiffel Tower was able to put its name on the wedding certificate. I don't think that was physically capable. But as far as two grown people being in a relationship, as long as they're not hurting anyone else, I don't see the problem with it. As long as both people understand and are fully capable of understanding what that relationship means to them. That's not to mean that I haven't had issues with it in the past and that I still don't sometimes struggle with it. A lot of Catholics, Christians, Jews, whatever you want to, whatever religious orientation you are, they have issues with that lifestyle. And, I guess I'm supposed to have issues with that lifestyle because I do count myself as a Christian. But I also know that not everyone follows the faith that I do. Not everyone follows my political views. Not everyone, follows my family structure. And I don't think it would be right for me personally to force that upon them. So when you look at someone that's different than you are, in my mind, it is important to understand that it is not your right or your job to force your views and your opinions upon them. It's their life, it's their, conscience, it's their soul that they have to contend with. It's not yours, I think people get that wrong. People believe that they are supposed to be the ones that are judge, jury, and executioner of everyone else. And that's just not the case. All right? It is not your job to judge other people. If we would stop judging everyone else, I think we would be a lot happier. Because we wouldn't feel other people judging us. So, anyway, that's my thing. I think we take too much time and effort in judging other people, and if we could just learn to not do that, we would be fine, and then we would be a shining example. In church this last, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but he said, the pastor at the church said that, it's not our job to condemn someone else's lifestyle. It's our job to exemplify our own lifestyle so that people can then make a decision on whether or not it is for them. And I firmly believe that is a great way to look at any issue. You don't like something that someone is doing, show them that how you are doing, what you are doing, how you are doing it is better for them in the long run, not by beating them over the head with it, but by showing positive results. So if the far right wants to show that homosexual relationships are bad, and I'm not recommending this, but I'm just using this as an example, okay? If they want to say that those are bad, then they need to show the most shining, the most caring, the most well-performing, the most loving heterosexual relationships that they can show. And I guarantee you they can't necessarily do that when divorce rates are at 50%. All right? You want to show me that marriage is always going to work, well, then you better show me that it's always going to work and that you guys can make it work. Because right now you're failing. Now that's not to mean that homosexual marriage is the answer to everything. It's not. All right? But you're not doing a good job of proving your case either. So, I was talking to the pastor because I was talking to him about something else, and, we just had a frank discussion about it. That's one of the reasons why I like this church, is that you can have a frank discussion about something, and you can actually voice and say, hey, listen, I told him I thought he had balls for taking on the discussion of homosexuality in a sermon and covering it in a way that I didn't think was confrontational at all. He covered it in a very good way that I couldn't even scratch the surface on how he covered it. All right, I thought he did very well. And then the next week he goes and he covers government. And no, I'm not covering politics in front of 200 people. That's not going to happen. I'll do it on YouTube because you can't talk back right now. But I'm not going to do it live in front of 200 people that I know there is a huge difference in their political views. We've said time and time again on the radio show, we're the party of personal responsibility and common sense. And, so that's the way I look at it. But, going back to the article that I was originally talking about, is this guy really laid everything out well. And if I think about it, I'll try and find the article and I'll post it in the comments for this video so that you can read it and tell me what you think, because I am curious. I know that probably most of our listeners are fairly liberal in their views, and they understand that that there are those people out there that don't necessarily live their lifestyle, and that's fine. That's good. That, like I said, it's their life to lead, and as long as it's not impinging upon your life, what do you care? The bumper sticker that everybody sees, you don't like gay marriage, don't have one, is 100% true. All right? That lifestyle is, the couple kissing in their house down the road does not affect your marriage. All right? It affects their marriage and how it works for them. But this whole thing about the pronouns and the who's the wife, who's the husband, I thought it was a very good article, because it does do that gender role question, And think about it, even within a heterosexual relationship, is one person always the wife and is one person always the husband? Because I can tell you right now, there are times when I am the more emotional in my marriage. I am the one that is really the more caring, and that's not to say that my wife isn't caring. She is. She's a very caring person. All right? But there's times where I have to be the shoulder to cry on, or I have to be, the person bringing that emotion out, because she's trying to hold up too tough, And there's other times where, where I have to let go. I think that those roles, those old traditional 1920s, 30s, 40s roles, they're definitely changing. And you can look at the work structure, if nothing else. I mean, back in the early 1900s, whatever it is, the man went to work and the woman stayed home and cleaned the house and did the dishes and reared the kids and did the laundry. And when dad came home, there was slippers and a drink and a pipe or a cigar waiting for him. That's not it anymore. That's not the case. Now we've got house husbands, we've got mannies, we've got stay-at-home dads, we've got women in the workplace that are CEOs. It's a whole new world out there that is definitely changing the definition of the relationship. The moment that started to change, I couldn't tell you when it was, but it definitely started to shake the structure of what we viewed as society, and we need to start adjusting. And I don't know how long that's going to take, but not just for homosexual relationships, but for heterosexual relationships, we need to kind of move with the times and not be so stuck in our traditions. And because, like I said, it really doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you, so don't get stuck in it. Don't get hung up on, like I said, the couple down the road, because they don't, they could be good guys or girls, but I'm not gonna, pigeonhole it just into male-male relationships. But anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I'm curious as to what you think. As always, this is a conversation, so please leave your comments below. If you hate what I gotta say, I want to hear it. I want to hear if you don't like this at all. If you agree with me, I'd like to hear it too. And let me know what you think of the 360 view. If you like it, if you don't like it, I'm curious. Thanks. Bye.